Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Today we are looking at a Cisco or Linksys SPA8000-G4. Now you're probably thinking, what on earth is that? Honestly, I still don't understand how it works. It's all just a bit of magic. But at least in this one, it seems like they just scaled it up from SPA112 or might have been a 122. Which, of course, those two replace the PAP2T. It's a long history, but let's have a look. This one I've just recapped. The caps that were in there were Suscon, literally Suscon branded capacitors. So I thought, you know what, no, this is brand new, 2017. Let's just go ahead, first thing, straight off the bat, replace the caps, nice new shiny caps. And there were some things I noticed. These capacitors here, along the front, are 470 UF, and the ones that were on there were a much smaller form factor. Now, I trust some brands of capacitors a little bit more than others. And in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't really matter too much. These are Panasonics. I trust Panasonic or Rubicon much more than, say, Suscon or Capexon, or even, look, I'll even say Nichicon. You know, they messed up once. I don't want to give them the time of day anymore. I've never had any issues with rubies or pannies. But as you can see here, the silk screen, now these were rated at 10 volt. Interestingly, the 10 volt version by Panasonic is the same form factor as the 16 volt. So what did they leave out? Did they manage to master physics better than Panasonic and Rubicon? No, they were probably just rated incorrectly. Now the problem is did the circuit designer factor that in? Are these meant to be 470 UF? Or are they actually something closer to 200 UF? Or is the voltage closer to 6 on the ones I've taken out? These ones are 16. Voltage doesn't matter so much. Microfaradness matters a bit more. Anyway, doesn't matter too much. We did get them to fit in. As you can see, they're a little bit in the air now. I've done worse things on circuit boards. And it hasn't got fire. The Cisco though is like, if you look at this design, where that fan is, this is a 35mm fan. So it goes just a little bit under the board. See, there's a little bit of a gap at the front there. And up. The case that sits on top is flat. There is plenty of space for these to blow up, which is maybe what they were counting on using the Suscons. However, I mean, even with this guy in here, you've still got enough room to vent. The one they were using here was I think it was a 15 by 15. It was like an SMD that wasn't an SMD. Through-hole SMD, I guess. But yeah, so look, I don't understand. I could have went much bigger on this one too. I just matched the voltage and kept the height within safety, because you don't want these venting against things. That's how you get fires, so they tell me. But anyway, we've gone ahead and replaced all the caps. Because it was 2017, it was more annoying to work on than older technology, thanks to ROHS, the reduction of hazardous substances, removing the nice lead from everything and making you use silver and tin solder, or at least removing it's very annoying. It doesn't come out nearly as easy with my desolder gun. Maybe I need a new desolder gun for this generation. Who knows? But what's cool about, I haven't actually turned it on, let's turn it on. I was meant to do that at the start. So as you can see, it blinks. When I first got this, it was stuck in a reboot loop. And the only way I was able to fix it was by connecting... I can't remember what it was. I wrote it down somewhere. It was something to do with firmware version 5, firmware version 6. It's all fixed now. And it stays on, it doesn't boot loop. It seems to turn on, which is good. If it didn't turn on, I'd be pretty sad. Why do I have this? What on earth am I doing with this? Well, this is sort of cycling back to the GeoCities stuff I was going on about in earlier or future videos, depending on when I get this video uploaded. What we have here are FXS ports, I believe. FXO and FXS are the two types. FXS is the type I'm after because this will allow me to connect 4 modems to dial into and 4 modems to dial into from. So I can use this modem to connect to this port, this modem to connect to this port, this modem to connect to the last port, and maybe this modem to connect to the third last port. Not necessarily in that order either. So it all links into an asterisk server. I have not configured that for this yet, but it's on the cards. It's on the cards. First was getting this hardware at least up to scratch, so it's nice for the future. I don't have to worry about it too much, which is always nice. Yeah, so I need a minimum of 4 modems for these first 4, and then another 4 modems for these next 4. Now, thankfully, I'll be using a Raspberry Pi as my asterisk server, which will bridge to the regular internet. So the asterisk server essentially sends out internet on a bridged network, and then it sort of gets squashed down to dial-up speeds when you dial in and out. 4 of the modems will connect into the Raspberry Pi's 4 USB ports, and that works extremely well. And the other 4 will be able to connect to modems that are connected to, I don't know, other computers. I need to work that out as well. I need 4 computers. I need a lot of phone cable too. Yeah, I can probably find some phone cable, but I'm going to need more. One of the most annoying things though is that typically I'm a Mac user, and Mac OS stripped out its TCP/IP stuff a while back. So usually I like to fall back onto Linux distributions such as Ubuntu. Or even better, Windows 95, 98, maybe XP. 2000 would be quite good actually. This little fan though, I'm going to... This fan, so it's pushing air out of nowhere at the moment. That grill makes it the noisiest fan in the history of the world. I bought a different fan. Whoops. Multicom. What do we got? 12 volt, 0.043 amp. In theory, it should be a little more quiet. Really, I could just unplug it. It's better to have some cooling than none. At the same time, you can't even, if you've got... Oh, that's better. Much better. So here's some of the chips we've got on the board. As you can see, it's pretty much just duplicated. Triplicated, quadruplicated. Once I saw this layout, I immediately thought of Voodoo and their their chip that they just kept adding on. Oh, we need a better card. Just slap another one of them chips on. You've got 8 and 8 caps there in a row, and then a bunch of those things that have the things inside them. Spinny things that don't spin, but they have things spun around them. Ferrite blocks. Ferrite blocks. Then they go into some other things, and the Sapura bits. So it's quite an interesting layout, I guess. This might have been closely related to SPA2100, SPA2200. Honestly, I don't know the numbers too well. But pretty much, I think the story went, Linksys bought a bunch of intellectual property from Sapura or something, and then they used a crappy wrapper to make it look like it was theirs. You know, the front end said Linksys in a heavily compressed JPEG. And then Linksys and Cisco started to dance. And the interface got much worse on the SPA112, I think is the one I've been using more recently. Well, look, that hasn't caught fire, so I'm quite happy with that. That's been running for at least a minute now. Ice cold, and putting it in backwards. Cold as ice. Of course, the capacitors may not be doing anything yet because I'm not dialing anything. There's nothing really happening. Anyway, leave me with it. I'll keep you posted on how it goes, just for my reference in the future. This is powered by a, what is that, 12 volt 3 amp center positive power supply. It's probably a bit bigger than it needs to be, but hey, what can you do? Thanks for watching. This has been a Shane McRetro video on this. Till next time. Bum ba bum 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 rotary dial. Bum ba bum bum rotary encoder dial. Do 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 do. Mute. Do 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 do.